Only a renegade who had it made, except for a bounty. And every morning always gray. This will be my end today. I'm a wanted man. Hey, Julius Assange, man. You were a wanted man. Anyway, how's it going there, UB2B, Facey Bookie, and anybody else who gives a rat's ass? Right? Another windy spring day here in Illinois. Waiting to pick up my granddaughter. I haven't done that in a while. So picking her up, picking my daughter up after school. Once I get my granddaughter, we're all good, right? Beautiful day. All right, watching trains go by. Trying not to pay attention to what's going on in the fucking world because it's never good anymore, right? Everything's, white man's fault. Yeah, it's that windy. The whole fucking car is shaking. Anyway. So, Julian Assange, man. That dude looks like he's been hiding under a fucking rock, huh? Anyway, do I think the dude's guilty? Absolutely not. I wish more fucking media companies of all sorts would just publish truth about the bullshit any government does, right? But that shit's never gonna happen. And watching the press eat itself, well, we've been watching that for a few years. We all know they're biased to one way or the other, especially to the liberal side. And, it is what it is. Oh, man, it's just such a fucking fucked up life anymore, man. I went and watched some of the old Dragons the other night. I was a little bored. I was up. I was in a little pain because, got the second toe cut off and just dealing with some of the ghosty pain that you deal with when you get shit cut off, right? That shit still hurts long after it's gone, and fed to the dogs. So, I watched some old Dragons. Holy shit, were we on the money sometimes? Wow. And, I miss it. I see HD, he's doing kind of that thing once in a while. Yeah, I better not leave that down. The wind's just too much. Fucking windy. Anyway, so, man. The lines are being literally drawn for something. Whatever it is, I have no clue. But the lines are literally being drawn. And it really has come to this point in this country where you have to choose with your feet. Okay? Does it mean uprooting yourself or any of that? Yeah, it means a lot of it, right? And it means a lot of change in your life. It means you having to do, upset whatever your routine is. And for most Americans, if you're lucky enough to be in a state that is continually fighting for the freedom of the individual, then you ain't got to do or go nowhere, right? If you're in some of the states like mine, Illinois, or any of the fucking hard blue states, it's really become time to where you have to choose with your feet, right? Here in Illinois, we in the rural communities used to have some autonomy against the fucking big cities, right? The blue machine. And even the blue Dems out here were a little more blue collar, right? So they had to pay attention to their constituents a little bit more out here. But now it's just over and done with, We're getting taxed to fucking death. We're just going to continue to get taxed to death. And it's time to, now I have the opportunity in June to really start putting forth getting the fuck out of this state. All right, so I'm telling everybody who's in a hard blue state, California especially, New York especially, because this is what brought it up. I was talking to a buddy of mine, all right? Now, he's a teacher. Really good dude. He was a bad dude at one time, right? We were in juvie together. This is how fucking long I know this fucking guy, right? Anyway, so we were in juvie together, and he used to be a really bad dude. Good musician. I mean, a good dude, but a bad dude, right? He used to do bad shit, right? Well, like some of us, you know, we learned our fucking lessons. It took me about 10 more years after getting out of juvie, but he learned it right away. He cleaned his shit up. He had a good family structure. You know, it was just a glitch in his road. And he went on to be a really good teacher in New York City. Right? Now, he works for the city, and he's a very compassionate dude. And, you know, really nice dude. I mean, this guy's awesome. Awesome friend of mine. You know, after getting, you know, in contact with him after 20 years, whatever, through the social media, we've become even better friends since. A few of us have from back in that time. Right? But he sees all the same things that we do, yet he lives in New York City. You know, he lives waiting every day to just be fucked every chance they get. And I see it with a lot of people. You know, most people in America, most people in the world really don't move beyond 30, 40 miles of where they were born, right? And the only exception is moving into a giant metropolis, right? That's the only exception, is if people move from there within that 30-mile radius, they're generally moving into a metropolis area, right? And when you move into those densely populated metropolis areas, you generally get the kind of shitholes that all these fucking cities turn into. So, you know, and then those shithole cities tend to control whatever's going on in that state. So even if you want to stay out of a city, you end up being controlled by one of these shithole cities. And I don't know if there's a major city in the fucking United States anymore that is basically, you know, I hate to bring it down to the one or the other, you know, the fucking Democrat or the Republican controlled, but I don't know if there's any city that's a major city with a large population that's controlled by Republicans. I could be wrong. Please, if I am, tell me in the comments below, right? Prove me wrong, please, so I know where to head to, okay? But, you know, we have the example of what happens with these cities, why these cities want to be more controlled. They want to be governed. We don't, right? And I got into that conversation with my friend, and, you know, he's a fucking music teacher, and he sides as a history teacher. And we both had the same history teacher, who I actually have gotten in contact with, talked to through, you know, the whole getting together with the people from juvie. Well, you know, our history teacher was kind of young, and she's 100% blue, right? New York blue, like most of the people I grew up with. You know, and did time with Juvian, right? They end up being New York blue. Anyway, but, you know, I get into these conversations with all these people about, do you want to be governed? Do you want to be free? Do you want to have the personal responsibility for, you know, your own life? Or do you want most of it, you know, to be within the rat race that you've joined and helped build, right? Controlling all your actions, which is exactly what goes on, you know? I mean, when you move into these urban areas, you are conceding to be governed by these people who have built this rat race for their own, you know, edification, for their own, you know, for their own advances, right? And you've just joined the rat race and became another cog in the fucking wheel, and you don't mean shit, right? At least when you live out in the rural areas, which is what we're looking into, is rural areas of Missouri and rural areas of Indiana and shit like that. Warmer than where I live now. But rural areas, and at least when you live in the rural areas, you get to choose, what limited amount of government you allow to control you, and you get to help choose that. Now, you might not always, like most of life, you have your guy and somebody else will win, but, you know, that's just the way that shit is. But there's going to be times where your guy's going to win, right? And he hopefully listens to you on how you want to have the least amount of governance and government involvement in your life, right? And proceed accordingly. Anyway, so I encourage, and you know what? There's a lot of states that are turning blue that you guys are in fucking trouble, okay? You know, at least here, where I am, I knew it was blue already, and I used what things that were to my advantage, and now I'm just going to go ghost and go gone, right? And when I move to the next state, they're not going to know what the fuck I have. So, then there's plenty of states, like my friends in Nevada, you guys are fucked with a big F. I was talking to my fucking nephew, and he was telling me, man, it's as bad as you hear HDP, and if Tony talked about it, you probably hear Tony, he's just giving up like me. It's as bad as it is. California's invading it. It's just that simple. And those people are going to vote the way they did in California, and you guys are going to be fucked, right? You're just going to be an enclave of California, and I think they know it. I think they know it. I think they know there are people at least around there that know they're going to want a buffer between them and the rest of the United States, right? And it's going to be just that simple. They're going to need a buffer, right? And they want California. They know Nevada can be one, and that's why they're invading Nevada and Arizona and trying to, grab the major cities, because they don't give a fuck about the rural. They just don't give a fuck, right? They know if they get in Nevada, they know if they got into Clark County and they got into Las Vegas and they start taking control of the government of Las Vegas, they know they don't need the fucking rest of the goddamn state. They can get it done, right? Same with Arizona. They know if they got Tucson and they got Phoenix, they don't need anybody else. Fuck everybody else, right? Texas ain't no fucking different. They know they get Houston, they get Dallas, they get Austin. They got it all because they already got some of the border cities. So they win, right? Anybody surprised in knowing this? I'm not, right? So, you got to move. You got to get out. Even though, and I hear so many people, I know so many people that you have every excuse in the world why not to get out. Why not to move away from that 30 fucking mile radius that you grew up in, right? And for the people that live in Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, Indiana, the places that haven't changed yet, you're still kind of safe. So, God bless you. For those of us in these deep blues, ain't nothing going to change, it's just going to get worse. Time to get out. It was time to get out 10 years ago, right? But if you have children like me and you're locked in school systems and shit like that, I understand. Especially when you have high schoolers, right? But if you have younger kids, kids are malleable. Move them. Take them. Get the fuck out. If you have family there, take them with you. If they don't want to come, then sometimes you got to cut people off. You got to just say, okay, you don't want to come. Well, okay, I need to go. Right? You guys in California with this fucking ridiculous 1 week of a magazine lift, right, for 30 rounds. And over that week, you guys, I'm sure you brought a couple of million, if not a billion fucking magazines into the goddamn state. Right? And God bless you for it, but now they're illegal again. And they're going to be banned again. And you guys are just fucked. Right? Oregon, Washington, same thing. New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, same shit. The East Coast is like lost cause. Pennsylvania used to be a bulwark. So is Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. But you guys are all fucked. Understand, those people spread out from those fucking major cities, bought, especially the elites and the rich, bought property up in those places, and then decided to change the government to the way they wanted it to be. Move. That's the best I can tell you. Have a good one. Talk to you later.